Same basic concept as the last problem we did. We're looking for the greatest common factor between the two numbers in order to set up the organization. And again, if you want to use manipulatives, if you want to sketch it out, that's not bad. But when we start getting up into numbers like 32, 56, into the hundreds even, it gets harder and harder to rely on your sketch to show where everything fits. So let's take a look at our two sets of numbers here. We will do a sketch to help visualize. I've got 32 R&B and 56 rock. So what would be the GCF between them? Can you go higher than 8? Is 8? Let's see, 32 is 4 times 8, and 56, 7 times 8. It looks like 8 is the greatest common factor that they both share. Now, if you're still having a hard time with this, finding the GCF, you can always do the complete prime factorization. So yeah, you do what we were doing before with the 2 and the 2 and the 2 and the 4 and the 2 and the 2. So you're down to 2 to the 5th, and then this becomes 2 and 4 and 2 and 2, or 7 times 2 to the 3rd. So the GCF between them is 2 to the 3rd, or 8. We get to the same spot of the GCF being 8, which helps me set up my answer. But now the question is, how many rows and then how many total columns how many columns am I looking at? So again, I'll do my sketch. This is the R&B section. How many CDs are going across in the row? 8. GCF. So there are 8 across. So how tall is that section? 4. And now the other one. Let's see, here's my rock. So, how wide is it?
8.
Still has to be 8. How tall? 7. So my final question now, how many rows and how many columns? 11 rows and 8 columns. That's why I would write them. Now again, if you're looking at this like, I still have a hard time, you can go ahead and actually make a sketch with the real numbers in it. You're going to be doing a lot of sketching. So for example, this first block, it's 4 deep and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide. So again, when we get to these bigger numbers, it gets harder to do. But if you're desperate for, did I line those all up right? Yeah. So there's that first block of 32. And then 56, I'm going to do below that. Did I leave one out? Yeah, I did. It would be right there. What's up?
Is the bigger number always going to be on top of the little sketch?
Not necessarily. The greatest common factor is the number of rows. There's the number of items in the row. Okay, let me clean this up in here. Is it a quick question, Beth? Yes, that was a quick question. Rather than doing circles, because those can be kind of a pain to draw. Let's see, so there's that. So this would be 8 wide, right? And then 4 deep. So there's my 32 of them. 8 this way, 4 this way. And I have to have that same number below that. And that's what determines which numbers go where. Since 8 is the common factor, it's going to be 8 wide. So there are 8 items in each row. And it's a lot easier to draw when it's even numbers because you can just keep cutting things in half. And then it's going to be 7 wide. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. And that's why it's 8 this way, 7 that way, 8 that way, 4 that way. It's not the bigger number, it's just the greatest common factor. Just happened to work out that way in these two examples. The GCF was bigger. What other questions can I answer about that? The table, like a little sketch. You don't have to unless it helps you visualize what you're looking at to get the answer that they're looking for. What else can I say about that one?
Can't you just, like, once you have the greatest common factor and the two other numbers, can't you just add that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as you can remember that number, the total number of rows comes from adding the two other numbers together. Yeah, that works.